On December 1st, 1948, just before sunrise, a man was found sitting against a seawall on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. He looked as though he had simply drifted off to sleep. His legs were crossed. His polished shoes were spotless. His suit was neatly pressed. There were no signs of violence, no struggle, no footprints leading away, just a dead stranger staring silently toward the sea. Police assumed identification would be simple. It wasn't. Every label had been carefully removed from his clothing. His fingerprints matched no one. No missing person fit his description. No family came looking. No one knew his name. Weeks later, investigators discovered a tiny rolled-up piece of paper hidden in a secret pocket sewn into his trousers. 2 words, Tamam Shad, translated from Persian, "It is finished." That tiny scrap would ignite one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Was he a spy, a victim of the Cold War, poisoned by an undetectable toxin, or something even stranger? Tonight, we're diving into one of the most baffling cases ever recorded. I am your host, Mordecai. This is Stranger Thangs, and this is the mystery of the Somerton Man. Early on the morning of December 1st, a racehorse trainer walking along Somerton Beach noticed a man sitting against the seawall. He assumed the stranger had fallen asleep after drinking. Others had reportedly seen him the evening before. One witness said the man raised his arm weakly before letting it fall. Another believed he had simply shifted position. No one imagined he was dying. Hours later, he hadn't moved. Police arrived. The man appeared to be around 40 years old. Athletic, well-groomed, approximately 5'11". He wore a fashionable brown suit, polished shoes, clean white shirt, tie, overcoat, odd attire, considering it was a warm Australian evening. Then came the first mystery. His pockets. There was no wallet, no driver's license, no passport, no identifying papers. Instead, investigators found a half-smoked cigarette, unused train ticket, bus ticket, chewing gum, matches, a comb, nothing else. Every clothing tag had been meticulously removed, not ripped, carefully cut, almost professionally. Who removes every identifying label from their clothing? Police searched the country. Nothing. Newspapers published his photograph. Still nothing. The unknown man seemed to have appeared from nowhere. Doctors expected a straightforward examination. Instead, they found one contradiction after another. The Somerton Man appeared remarkably healthy, excellent muscles, no obvious disease, no injuries, yet his organs told another story. His stomach contained partially digested food, the spleen was enlarged, the liver congested, his blood vessels strangely swollen. These findings strongly suggested poisoning, but no poison. Extensive testing found nothing. Some experts proposed digitalis, others suggested strophanthin, rare poisons capable of disappearing before detection. If true, someone had used a nearly perfect murder weapon. Even today, many forensic experts believe poisoning remains the most likely cause. but no one has ever proved it. The mystery deepened. Several months later, detective work uncovered one of the strangest clues in criminal history. Inside the dead man's trousers, hidden in a tiny fob pocket, was a tightly rolled scrap of paper. The words, "Tamam shud." It is finished. The paper came from the final page of an ancient Persian poetry collection, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Then something incredible happened. A local man contacted police. Months earlier, he'd found an abandoned copy of the Rubaiyat in his unlocked car. When investigators examined it, they made an astonishing discovery. The final page had been torn out. It matched perfectly. The missing piece was the one found in the dead man's pocket. Coincidence? Or deliberate? Inside the book, another mystery waited. Written inside the back cover, in faint pencil, was a strange sequence of letters. Groups of seemingly random capitals. No obvious meaning. For decades, military cryptographers, code breakers, the FBI, amateur sleuths, and intelligence experts have tried decoding it. No solution has ever gained universal acceptance. Some think it was shorthand. Some believe it was a one-time spy cipher. Others argue it's meaningless scribbling. One thing remains certain. No one has cracked it. If it really is a code, it may still be waiting to reveal its secrets. Also written inside the Rubaiyat was a phone number. It belonged to a young nurse named Jessica Thompson. When shown the plaster death mask, witnesses reported she nearly fainted. She denied knowing him, but investigators thought her reaction was telling. Jessica had once given a copy of the Rubaiyat to another man. Coincidence? Perhaps, or perhaps not. Rumors spread that she had wartime intelligence connections. Others noticed she lived only a short distance from where the body was found. Some researchers later suggested her son bore unusual physical traits shared with the Somerton Man, fueling speculation that the dead man might have been the child's biological father. That idea remains unproven and is still debated. Was she protecting someone, or simply caught in a bizarre coincidence? She took whatever answers she knew to her grave. The timing couldn't have been stranger. The Cold War was just beginning. Australia had become a strategic intelligence hub. Only miles away, a secret weapons research facility operated. Spies from both east and west were active throughout the region. A man with no identity, labels removed, possible poison, an encrypted message, a mysterious contact. It sounded less like a homicide and more like an intelligence operation gone wrong. No document has ever confirmed this theory, but it refuses to disappear. For decades, the Somerton Man remained anonymous. Then, modern forensic genealogy entered the story. In 2022, researchers led by Professor Derek Abbott announced they had identified the Somerton Man as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer born in Melbourne. Their conclusion was based on DNA recovered from preserved hair and extensive genealogical research. It was a remarkable breakthrough. After nearly 75 years, the unknown man finally had a likely name. But the DNA solved only one mystery. It didn't explain why Webb traveled to Adelaide. It didn't explain how he died. It didn't explain the missing labels, the torn page, the hidden pocket, the code, or Jessica Thompson. Some researchers have questioned aspects of the identification process, while many others consider the genealogical evidence persuasive. The debate has narrowed considerably, but not every question has been settled. The biggest mysteries remain untouched. Perhaps that's why the Somerton Man continues to fascinate us, not because we don't know who he was, but because we still don't know who he was to everyone else. Someone removed every trace of his identity. Someone may have poisoned him with a substance science couldn't detect. Someone possessed a rare book with a missing page that somehow ended up in his pocket. Someone wrote a code that 70 plus years later still refuses to surrender its meaning. Maybe he was simply an ordinary man whose final days became tangled in extraordinary coincidences. Or maybe, for one brief moment, the Cold War washed ashore on an Australian beach. One silent body, one torn scrap of paper, two words that continue to echo through history. It is finished. Or perhaps the story never really ended at all, because somewhere, hidden inside those faded pencil marks, or buried inside forgotten intelligence archives, was he a spy literally left out in the cold? The final answer may still be waiting. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep looking into the shadows, because sometimes the strangest things turn out to be true.